I feel like a newscaster.
You should. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be hailing from. As you can tell, we may be a little bit slap happy, a little bit crazy, but it has been a crazy day and an awesome day here live in Boston, Massachusetts, live from the RHEL booth here at Red Hat Summit.
So I'm going to add distracting Eric right as the stream goes live to my checklist of things I've accomplished since coming to Red Hat.
Well, I mean, it helps that our boss's boss's boss walked by and said, "Don't screw this up," as we push the button. So, I mean, there's that. So, hey, I'm Eric, the IT guy Hendricks, technical marketer here at Red Hat. And of course, joining me is my favorite Viking, Nate Lager.
Lab villain.
I mean, that looks kind of Viking fun, and
I guess it
harkens to Valheim,
it
right?
It is. Yeah, sure.
So thank you all of those that joined us this morning for our kickoff stream. Really appreciated all the comments. We'll get to those at some point. Really appreciate it. But it's been a crazy day today. So I figured we'd start off with a couple of summit announcements. If you're crazy enough to join us live for a wrap-up stream, I gotta say, all the big stuff is tomorrow. So all the big RHEL stuff, join us tomorrow.
RHEL's what's
be
important,
awesome.
right?
Well, I mean, isn't that the only reason you come to Summit?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, there's this OpenShift,
That's why we're
AI,
here.
some other
Whatever.
blah, blah, blah stuff.
AI, ChatGPT, write me a novel.
Hey, I was told the other day by a fan, I'm not sure how much of a fan you can be, because he said that, here in like 3 or 4 years, you'll be replaced by AI. I was like, Thanks for that. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Can AI grow hair like this?
I don't think so.
No,
I mean,
I don't think
got
so.
you got this. This
Yeah.
is all I can do. But you've got this going on. I've got this. We're set. McBrien is producing, and he's just like, "What are these idiots talking about?"
What are they doing?
So, with that said, day one though, a lot of awesome announcements. OpenShift is doing some AI stuff. I think they're doing a recap blog post or something, so go check out the OpenShift blog for that. But a little bit closer to home, our friends over at Red Hat Ansible had a couple of announcements. Event-driven operations, and you and I were both sysadmins,
Yes.
so I'm sure there is just the idea of being able to put in these health checks into Ansible automation platform, and then just hand it off, let go.
Does that mean when the server breaks, it fixes itself?
Pretty much, yeah.
Perfect.
I mean, done.
Done.
Sadly, that's all I know. It's just event-driven. It fixes things that are broken. That's all I got.
Learn more about it later. We spent the whole day here at the booth talking to you wonderful customers.
The other thing that was announced through Ansible was Ansible Lightspeed. So at Ansible Fest this past fall, they announced a partnership with IBM on a tool called Project Wisdom through, what is it, Watson? IBM Watson?
That sounds like it makes sense.
And so what this is, it's really cool because while things like ChatGPT are these big, broad, focused AIs, what Project Wisdom and now Ansible Lightspeed is very directly focused on writing Ansible playbooks. So you can basically give a playbook a title and hit tab, and it'll wait and Project Wisdom, aka Ansible Lightspeed, will actually take a few seconds and respond to you with basically a playbook, a task that says, so you type in a title that says, give me a web server, and it'll come back with the package dependencies, with all the Ansible code that you'll need, and you just kind of tweak it and go from there. It is an amazing tool. Can't wait to see it. I think, don't quote me on this, I think it comes out this fall, but definitely the announcement for Ansible Lightspeed, go check it out. Awesome to see.
So we are being replaced by AI. Maybe not we.
Our boss is right there, dude. Don't tell him. Don't tell him that he can replace us with ChatGPT. A little bit closer to the home, though, we've got a third-party offering for Red Hat Enterprise Linux for third-party Linux conversions, which is basically convert to RHEL. Of EUS, can do a Linux 7, run that for 2 years, and from there you can start planning. Do I do an in-place upgrade to RHEL 8? or do I do a rip and replace using image builder, built-in OpenSCAP tooling, and Ansible automation platform, system roles, all those shiny things in RHEL 9? I mean, that's the route I'd go. I just RHEL 9 all the things, but
sure.
understandably, you might have a workload that's still running on CentOS Linux 7.
Some things aren't supported on 9 yet. I mean, I don't know. Come on, get with the playbook here, right? But right, some things aren't supported on 9 yet, but they're on 8. But honestly, when you're a sysadmin, sometimes you want to change as few things as possible.
Right.
So going from CentOS to RHEL in one step is probably a huge change for some people. Getting that then to RHEL 8 is just like, no, too much at once.
Yep.
So, you know.
At least with this new offering through Red Hat Enterprise Linux, you've bought yourself an additional 2 years beyond June 30th, 2024, which you'll be hearing a ton about between now and next year's summit. And for a month after that, because June 30th, 2024, we've actually got a presentation on that tomorrow. Then the other thing we announced was along the same life cycle was enhanced EUS.
With more E.
It's EUS, but more E. I mean, what more do you want? So if you don't know, EUS is basically the ability to stay on a minor release of Red Hat Enterprise Linux, typically the even numbered, and be able to stay on that minor release for up to 2 years. Now, because it's got more E, not just 2 years, but 4. We are all slap happy. I'm loving it.
4 years.
So if EUS was good, EUS must be better because there's more E's in it. So
now this solves real problems, right? I was talking to a
does.
TAM friend of mine just last week, and she was telling me how some customers have issues where a vendor won't support other than the even releases of RHEL, and even then, sometimes it takes them longer than 2 years to certify one. So so her customer has to support all these several releases of RHEL because the vendor doesn't have time in between to catch up. So this 4-year support can actually help solve that problem.
So before we move on to the next part of our wrap-up stream, we actually had a question in chat that we can actually answer right here and right now. Tony B asked, when is RHEL 10 coming out?
So let's see, we have a 3-year release cycle for major releases. When did 9 come out? Last year.
A year ago.
A year ago.
A year ago at Summit.
So it should be 2 more years from now.
There you go. You
Simple
heard it
as
right
that.
here. You heard it first.
Did I just release something I wasn't supposed to? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, we didn't announce like a release date, but we've given people a calendar and basic arithmetic.
The life cycle and release is all right out on the webpage.
Yep.
So you should be able to trust that. We've stuck with it thus far since RHEL 8, right? RHEL 8 was when we introduced the new life cycle.
Yep.
And we've stuck with it the whole life of RHEL 8 and now with RHEL 9. So.
In fact, if you ask Gunnar what his favorite feature, Gunnar's the VP of all things Linux and whatnot. His title's like 6 times longer than that, but he's a VP of all things Linux. But he actually said at Summit last year when I was interviewing him about this, that his favorite feature about RHEL 9 was that it released on time, which was like within a couple of weeks of RHEL 8 coming out, 3 years. So RHEL 9 was a delivery on that RHEL 8 promise of the new lifecycle. So yes, we can tell you with reasonable confidence that in 2 years from now we'll be announcing RHEL 10. In fact, there was I believe it was recorded, a roadmap session for RHEL 9, RHEL 10, and beyond that Gunnar and a few other folks hosted. So go check your Summit catalog for that. Although I think most sessions won't be available until the 25th or so. Keep in mind, we've been here in the booth all day. That's what I've heard. So
what day is it again?
25th.
No, what day is it now? What time is it? Should we be eating?
We should be eating.
We should be eating.
So for that, the next section that we wanted to talk about was troubleshooting review. So we actually announced a troubleshooting session today. We've been working with people here in the booth, and I think we had 3 completed.
I think it's more than 3 now that the day's over. But I personally witnessed, I think, 4 in all. And I think a few people solved it while I was out doing other things.
Gotcha. So maybe about 5 people here on site fixed it. And so, do you have the outline? Because I don't.
there's not an outline. We don't need an outline. I can just talk about these. We wrote them after.
Oh, yeah. I have the author of that
All right,
Instruct Lab joining me.
we made 2 troubleshooting challenges, one for each day of Summit. Obviously, we're at the end of day 1, so I'm not going to talk about day 2s yet. You're going to have to come out to the booth to try it out, or watch tomorrow's stream, hopefully, where we review the solution for
So
tomorrow's
actually
challenge.
tomorrow morning, before I interview our accelerators, we'll announce the link to tomorrow's challenge,
Right.
which you can try out right from home, and we'll even announce who got the best time, who completed it with the best time. We'll announce that on tomorrow's wrap-up show, which is what we're doing for today's challenge.
Good.
So we had the sysadmin, his name is Nate, no relation,
Totally not.
who completely destroyed an Apache web server.
Yep. So yes, the premise of the lab is, and if any of you watch Into the Terminal, you might recognize this premise. The premise of the lab is this guy, Nate, he got some Ansible playbooks to try to secure our web presence, right? And he just ran them without really realizing or looking or caring about what it is that they were changing. And they did a few things and they broke some stuff. One of the first thing that it broke was our website is down. In fact, it's not down, it's still up. It's just showing the RHEL test page. It worked. Who's familiar with the It Worked page from Apache? However, all the files are still there, but they're just not serving. Well, what it comes down to is the web root for our website was in the super secure location of /web instead of var /HTML. And anyone who's familiar with SE Linux, if you have it off, it doesn't matter. But if you turn it on, now that doesn't work anymore unless you've applied the right contexts. So the solution to step 1 of our lab today, or our troubleshooting challenge, was the context for web HTML had to be reset to, what is it, HTTP the sys content T, and then, ta-da, the website works. The second challenge was that we have a super important script that runs out of var temp. And part of the hardening that was performed set var temp, which is a separate mount point, to no exec. Because it's no exec, now you can't execute the script anymore. And of course, this super important script has to run from var temp. We can't move it. So the solution was to remove no exec to make it work again. Obviously, the more permanent solution would be to find a better place to run your script than temp, because please, don't run scripts out of temp.
And this Nate guy has a real fascination with no exec.
Yeah, I guess so. Putting stuff in weird places is what
Well,
he's got
yeah,
fascination
there's
with.
that too. But it's more secure that way, right?
It's more secure. That way people can't find it.
So, with the best time, the person who completed today's, we don't have a name?
No one completed it.
Ouch. Well, we had a few people on site complete it. I guess we didn't get times for them.
We didn't have
We didn't.
times.
Okay. Sorry, folks.
All right, so just know that we will acknowledge you publicly in front of ones of your best friends across the entire internet. You can be YouTube famous.
There was a whole
that
lot
if
of
you
cheering for the
there
first
was-
one who solved it. I'll say that.
Right. Yeah, there's a few of us like coaxing him along, like, you got this.
No,
Because-
that guy walked right through it. The first guy that solved it. He sat down and he knew what he was doing. He went right for it. He solved it.
You fixing the lab in front of everyone doesn't count.
No, it wasn't me. Totally wasn't me. I broke the lab.
So I think tomorrow.
I mean, fictitious Nate broke the lab.
So tomorrow, I do believe that we have an evil villain that does some damage tomorrow. Am I
Oh
correct?
yeah, we have our terrible boss, Scott. He totally breaks some things while you're out on vacation, and you're gonna have to come back and try to fix his mess. I mean, glaze over his resolutions. How's that?
Oh my goodness. So as you can tell, we've been hard at work all day, hanging out with customers, partners, coworkers, and tweeting out new pictures. And it's been a crazy day, but it has been such a blast. If you are here in Boston, please stop by the RHEL booth tomorrow. Come hang out with us. I'll be interviewing a couple of accelerators in the morning, and we'll be doing hopefully a more cogent wrap up tomorrow. We've got some huge announcements. Honestly, some of the best RHEL announcements are tomorrow, so definitely tune back in. Catch the keynotes they should be on the Red Hat YouTube channel. Also follow us on Twitter @RHEL. There's so much content that you can. There's so much content that we'll be announcing and releasing tomorrow with some of these new updates and announcements. Other than that, so there's one other question from Tony about any certification news, new or updated tests. So the last time that all those tests tests and certifications got an update was post RHEL 9 release. So typically the major changes to those exams is post major release. So that would have been last summer. So I haven't heard of anything new, but if we do, you can definitely follow us on our Twitter handle. Also, make sure to subscribe, push the like button, hit that bell, especially considering we'll be live tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon with a similar webcast. But other than that, Nate, any closing thoughts?
I'm going to go get some tea.
I want some food and all the water containers in the building seemed to have dried up, so something to drink and something to eat sounds about right. I think we've covered all the questions in chat, so thank you all very much for joining us. Really appreciate you tuning in. Really appreciate the engagement out on Reddit, out on Twitter, out on YouTube. Really appreciate it. It makes what we do here a lot of fun, and hopefully we've given you a brief glimpse into what Summit looks like, or at least what a bunch of nerds hanging out for far too many hours in a single day end up looking like come the end of a summit, the end of a conference day. So with that said, I'd be okay with that. With that said, thank you all for joining us. Really appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow morning.